And these are the people that are slowly like a virus spreading inside those big masjids all across the country. Those big ones, there used to be a little house, a little basement, and then it becomes really big. When it becomes really big, these are the people that come in. And when they come in, you know what they do? They invite, people to give khutbah and talks and things like that. And if somebody, by mistake, gives a khutbah or a talk about some portion of Qur'an that is controversial to them, they will come and say, brother, please use wisdom. Like Qur'an, some parts of Qur'an are wisdom and other parts of it are not wisdom. Right? Please use wisdom. Let's talk about the mercy of Allah. Let's talk about the inclusiveness of Islam. Let's talk about the flowery, pretty stuff. But anything in Islam that somebody might not want to hear, don't talk about it. Shh. Wisdom. It's all out of context. That's the easy way out. It's all out of context. So the first thing was attacking. The second thing is deliberately hiding some portions of the book. And deliberately presenting a skewed vision of what the deen really is. A twisted version. A version that only represents some parts of Allah's book. Right? And this is again spreading like a virus. And the only people I think that can cure it is the coming generation. But they're too frustrated to deal with uncles in masjid, so they don't go to masjid much anymore. Yeah. Isn't it true? Yeah. So, this is the third category of people. This was the thing about the third prerequisite. And I told you how many prerequisites are there altogether? Four. The final prerequisite, internal prerequisite, is tadabbur, reflection. Now, when we think about understanding Qur'an, I started with Arabic, right? And you're like, okay, yeah, so if I learn Arabic, I can, or read some tafsir, I can do tadabbur on Qur'an. Let me present to you a very difficult problem. Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he is living at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Does he know Arabic? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. Does he know Arabic better than any of us? Sure, even better than the scholars that came after him, right? Because he's in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Does he know the context of revelation? Sure he does, he lived it. Right? He may even be around when the ayah was coming down. So we study the context of revelation, he lives the context of revelation. So if anybody has an amazing understanding of tafsir, a real life understanding of tafsir, it will be a sahabi. And an example that I want to share with you is the example of Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And about him, some narrations say it took 8, others say it took 14 years for him to memorize Surah Al-Baqarah and to finish studying it. And when he did, he slaughtered an animal and he had a whole party. Right? Why would it take an Arab? An Arab who knows this much level of Arabic, with that level of scholarship, so long to understand Qur'an. So long to study Qur'an. It must mean there is much more than the academic prerequisites. Right? Isn't that proving it? And what is this other prerequisite? This is the method of the Sahaba. Many of them were reported to have said this. We learn the Qur'an 10 ayahs at a time. The memorization is later on as a step. The first thing they used to do was study the knowledge in it, the hukum in it. Then they used to implement it in their lives until it became second nature. So they did it so much they don't even have to think about it when they do it. And then they would memorize it. And then go to the next 10 ayahs. And then go to the next 10 ayahs. That would take a long time. Because you're not just reciting ayat, you're not just memorizing ayat, you're not just reading about ayat, you are making them alive in your life. And this was the way of the understanding of the companions. It's not a library endeavor. That's only a small part of Islamic studies. So this dimension of Islamic studies is dead. We think we can look up some things online, copy paste some statements, got ourselves a speech, we've got ourselves a presentation, we've got ourselves a paper. There's much more to this deen than that. So these internal prerequisites, I pray that we are able to internalize them because these represent the people of real knowledge. And I leave you with the ayah of Qur'an. And just a comparison, people of knowledge in the West versus people of knowledge in Islam. The people of knowledge in the West, the assumption about them is, the more they learn, PhD, doctorate, postgraduate, whatever it is, the more they learn, the more prestigious they get. Right? The more recognition, awards, right? The higher pay, the more status, the more caliber university they get to be a professor at, etc., right? And so when you introduce someone, you say, this is a scholar from here, he did this degree and that degree and this and this and this and this, and you got all these huge resume, right? So it boosts their ego more and more and more, or we at least put them on a higher pedestal, right? Allah Azza wa Jalla describes the believer. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ إِذَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ يَخِرُّونَ لِلْأَذْقَانِ سُجَّدًا. The people who've been given knowledge, when this is recited on them, they fall on their faces crying. Shah Wali al-Dahabi rahimahullah is a great scholar in India and one of the great mujahideen against the British invasion. He, in his tafsir, said something very profound. He said that when a tree bears fruit, its branches come down. Think about that. When we bear the fruit of knowledge, we are supposed to be humbled. That's what he said. And this is what I leave you with. We have to understand that knowledge leads to humility, shame before Allah. And it leads us to realize, لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. There's no possibility of knowledge except that which you taught us. That attitude does not internalize, you are actually not learning. You're becoming more ignorant. You're becoming more ignorant. You're learning in the way of the disbeliever, not in the way of the believer. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us the correct understanding of the acquisition of knowledge. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us an ummah of knowledge, one that internalizes it and lives according to it, and is able to spread the light of it to the rest of the world. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum.